Welcome back to Traveler Week on page 121. Today we're going to take a look at Psionic Institutes, and for that we're going to look at a T4 book from Mark Miller's Traveler called Psionic Institutes. Nice Chris Foss artwork on the cover. Best part of T4, by the way. This book was out in 1997, and we're not going to look at the book so much as the ideas in the book. I'm not going to do a cover-to-cover on this. We're going to look at chunks of the book, and it's going to show what a Psionic Institute is or was, depending on your how you do your Traveler universe. This book takes place during the Milieu Zero campaign, so it's the psionics are still very legal in the Imperium and very prevalent. These suppressions won't happen for another almost 800 years. So the book goes into what an institute is like and some of the sillier aspects of being in a psionic society would be. And I'm going to take a look at a couple of those things in there. Also reminding you, as we enjoy this Traveler Week, I will be going back to other videos. I have not stopped doing other videos and become just a Traveler channel. It's just that I've wanted to do this all Traveler for a while. It's something to indulge me. As a game master, I periodically will go to my players and just say, hey, you know what? I need to play some Traveler. I need to play some Champions. I need to play some medium level D&D. And my players will indulge me and say, sure, whatever you want to run. It's just a nice break for the GM to actually be able to pick exactly what they're going to run. And my players are always very indulging of that when I really get the itch to play something. So this week I'm doing the same thing. I'm just enjoying some Traveler. I'm going to go back to the other stuff after the end of this week, and I'll go back to kind of my regular publication, Gamma World, AD&D. I may even be throwing in a little bit more Champions if I see some interest. And of course, Traveler is going to still be there too. Space Opera is coming, at least a look at the books, and some more Star Frontiers. So that's just a little bit of what's coming. Also, just reminding everybody, I'm still doing subscription drive. I've just crossed 1,500 as of the making of this video. Yay! Thank you very much for your support. Over half my views are still coming from people that don't subscribe. Come on, folks, come on in. We talk about games here. You clicked long enough to stay around one time. Maybe we can, there's some more stuff you'd be interested in the channel. So I'm encouraging everybody who can subscribe, please do. Trying to grow the channel. Also remind you of a Patreon. I may be doing a Traveler reward for that soon. I haven't decided on that yet. And time is still not my own. But that is what it is. But the Patreon would help upgrade my electronics, give me a nice background for Traveler, that sort of thing. So if there's anything you can do to help out, I would appreciate it. Please take a look at the Patreon. But back to the topic at hand, Psionic Institutes in Traveler. Psionic Institutes. This book is from Mark Miller's Traveler. This is T4, which, by the way, they did call themselves right there, Traveler 4th Edition. There's been some debate on that online if this is ever called T4. There it is. This was published in 97. And if you've been on my channel for a while, you've followed me for a while, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of the offerings from Mark Miller's Traveler, simply because the production was not very good. A lot of typos, a lot of errors. This book, while reading it through for this video, I'm finding whole sections that change from past to present tense right there in the same paragraph, sometimes in the same sentence. The editing on these was not very good. But that being said, that does not vacate the ideas that are brought forth. Nice little ad there. I'm not going to go through this entire book, but I want to show some of the fun things. So here's Psionic Institutes in the Third Imperium, and it talks about how this would be during Milieu Zero, which is, 1,000 years before our time, 1,105 years before our time is when Milieu Zero happens. And now we get Psionic Equipment Milieu Zero, and this kind of made me chuckle a little bit. This would be stuff that was popularly available in the Imperium during the Milieu Zero era from a company called Divine and Weston Outfitters Catalog. And the idea is that you could get psionic things to use at parties or just shield yourself in everyday life. With a psionic shield helmet, psionic shield generator, a psionicist detector. Ever wonder if your friends are psionicists? Now you can find out. A psion emitter and a psion deflector. There it talks about what are psions. There's a theory that a psionicist generates psions and manipulates psions that exist in the ambient atmosphere around us, and they're able to manipulate them and make things happen through the psions. These gadgets, and they are gadgets, would work to change how they react. And then it goes into how this stuff really works. And the last one, I'm sorry, is the Scion Rod. And then it goes into how this stuff would work. And basically, this is just, you're going online, and not online, but you're watching late night TV, and you're seeing some magic cooking gadget that's going to change the world. And it can be yours for 3 easy payments of $49.95. Ask about free shipping and handling. Well, that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be poking fun at that kind of thing. And I thought it was fun. I enjoyed that when I ran through it. And then we get to some of the artwork in here. The artwork's not bad. The black and white books of the 90s, it's okay. It talks about the law level for Psionic Institutes. I want to get past this, though, because there is an actual section in here, Psionics in Society, which is interesting. It gives you some really good ideas of how you can integrate psionics, say if you're in the periphery just beyond the Imperium. A lot of what's in this book would apply to that area. You're not in Imperial space. You're in charted space, but you're not in Imperial space. So a lot of what's in this book will apply there. Psionic rights. And then we go to an anti-psionicist movement, which can also happen. And the institutes. This is neat because it gives us some stuff about the institutes as they existed in kind of their heyday. Milieu Zero was pretty free and open time of possibilities. Institutes were popping up literally. They refer to them here as popping up at malls, literally popping up in storefronts on the corners of different neighborhoods and things like that, and how good or bad the various institutes were. Kind of like various colleges are now. How good or how bad is a college? That's what this was. They would headhunt. They would give bad press for their rivals. There'd be industrial espionage. And then aggressive recruiting for students. The better your student body, the more you would be able to recruit future students. And then we go into the Ega Hippodile, which is the mind games. And this was just a little competition between a couple of schools that eventually kind of went into almost an Olympics for scions. And it's similar to what the Zodani do in their games. So if you're looking to kind of illustrate the games, here's some good ideas here. I liked some of the ideas that are brought up. So that's what comes from the institutes, but here's why this book is valuable. We get sample institutes. We actually have institutes broken down by name, by quality, 5 stars there, 3 stars here for the Folida Institutes, when they were established and everything. So these would be good if you're outside Imperial space, or if you are running a campaign where psionics are illegal but underground. You could take one of these and put them as an underground institute that your players can become involved with. Maybe one or more of them have trained there or are going to train there. Maybe they're going to be non-psionic security there. Maybe they have to extract something or someone from one of the institutes. How do you do that? Some nice samples here of Psionic Institutes. And that's really what I remembered when I read this book back in the 90s. That's what really impressed me about this. And then when I was coming up with this series of videos on psionics, I thought, well, I have to do one on the institutes out of this book. So here we go. They have also government ones. This is the Aiga COD, the Thought Police. It's a 3-star school, but it is a government-run secret police. They are literally thought police. So there's lots of suggestions in here, lots of adventure hooks just out of reading the institutes. So I recommend this book, warts and all, for the institutes. Sci by Mail, one of my favorites. There's an old ladies academy in here. Mines Are Us. Anyone who's around the 90s with Toys R Us. One of my personal favorites, the Ladies Homemaker Society here. It's a 5-star quality institute. Basically, it started out literally as a sewing circle. Some older women would get together and host your rotating in their houses. And the next thing you knew, it turned out 1 or 2 of them was psionic, and bam, you've got a little underground psionic institute called the Ladies Homemaker Society. I just thought that was really clever. I've never, ever knocked the ideas in the Mark Miller Traveler book. It was always the execution that got on my bad side. Next in this book, and also great for adventure hooks, we get a look at a lot of personalities. People with psionic abilities and some of their backstory, which easily can be brought up to 1105. The idea that all this is written from Milieu Zero really doesn't change a ton, and the stuff in here is easily adapted. So here we get a bunch of different things, and the adventure hooks that would just come with knowing who these people were. Just very handy. I really enjoyed going through this again. And then we go into campaigns, and they talk about amber zones. Amber zones not really being necessarily designated amber zones by the Imperium or Taz, so much as just places of adventure. And these are a bunch of different campaign hooks that you could do as the GM. And then different various adventures. Psionicide is the first one. I love that. And again, characters that have to do with psionics and psionic suppression. A lot of this stuff easily translates directly back to the current Mongoose 2nd Edition game, or Cepheus, if you're using a little psionic suppression in that, or even Clement Sector, depending on what you want to do with psionics in that. So, coming up toward the back part of the book, I'm not going to go into each of the adventures. As I said, this is not a look at the book, it's a look at institutes themselves. And then we have different templates. We have terrorists, we have undercover police, and we have SWAT team, all as psionicists. And then we have patron encounters. I like the idea of patron encounters where you could be a psionicist who is hired to do a job. Maybe you're just being a early warning system, using your telepathy to scan people near your patron. Lots of different adventure hooks in this. So, as you can tell, I've had psionics on my mind. It's more great Chris Foss art. The irony is, the current travel game I'm running there, I don't have anybody with psionics. I was thinking of introducing an NPC with psionics. Don't tell my players, except they watch my channel, so they just heard it. But the idea of having a psionic opponent can actually be a lot of fun. It can be a guy who maybe is one step ahead of them from time to time, and maybe they find ways to get around the mental abilities this individual has. So that's a look at Psionic Institutes and how you can use them. You can use them as government-only agencies. You can use them as an underground on a planet. There's even one in here where the Psionic Institute had to go underground, so they went underground by going into space. They're on a 1,000-ton displacement vessel, and they move around their little chunk of the world, or chunk of the universe, and pick up recruits and train them right aboard their ship. So that's kind of a neat idea too. So there's a lot of good ideas. As I said, Mark Miller's Traveler, I had a problem with the quality of the production itself, but I always thought the ideas brought forth were worth mining, and obviously I still do, because I still go back to some of these books. So that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I hope you're enjoying Traveler Week. I'm enjoying bringing it to you. I've got one more in Traveler Week, and I'm saving, not the best for last, but I'm saving a really interesting one for last. So that'll be tomorrow's episode. That's all I've got to say today for your page 121. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.